Hey everyone, it's Brett Hornby here, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. As we're about to approach Halloween for 2021, I just figured for my next attempt at comedy, AAC number 27, I'm going to reflect back to some crazy nightmare that I had back when I was going to college. So I have my Wiz Smart bulb. That's the Halloween setting, and I just recently did my Calgary Hitman in 6 game recap. So it's funny to also have my Jason Voorhees Hitman mask, as this is kind of a perfect Halloween theme. But I say for attempt at comedy number 27, AAC number 27, just blame the owl. If you need something to blame, just blame the owl. What I mean about that is I remember, like I said, I was in college, so this is almost 20 years ago, which it's kind of funny that you sometimes remember dreams or crazy dreams or nightmares 20 years later. But I remember one night, I had this dream, and there was this creepy owl. Like, this creepy owl just couldn't go away. It's like you want to get away from it. It was that perfect horror movie. And I do remember one sequence in my dream that I think I was somewhere, don't exactly remember the somewhere. I just remember being inside in a closed building, not too sure if it was work or home or whatever. It was just a generic inside setting, and it was a full glass door. And I remember this owl kept banging his head on this glass door, like it was after me for some reason. So then, since then, every time when it's like something goes wrong, you're clumsy or make a mistake, shortly after that, I said, it's the owl's fault. The damn owl did it. Don't know why, but just for a while there, it was always the owl's fault. And then, funny thing is I also remember, now it's called Circle K, but there used to be called the Mac store. I know there was a cat logo, but then there used to be an owl. Maybe that's what triggered the owl, was the Max. And it's famously named in downtown Calgary, the Crackmacs. And actually there's a logger called Crackmacs that you can also, follow along. They produce interesting stuff. Although it's called the Crackmacs, that's where the old 8th Street station used to be, and it was still there when I was going to college, regularly taking the train. I do remember it's inside the Crackmacs. It's the nicest Mac store now, Circle K, that I could find in the city. It's a big, beautiful, it's a 2-story level building with a little atrium. But I also remember what used to be there, which might trigger the owl, which we always got to blame if we have to make mistakes or within reason. It's the owl's fault that they had a mannequin of a guy looking outside that window inside that Crackmacs. And I remember, I think he had an owl. There was an owl somewhere. I'm not too sure if it was on his shoulder or they just displayed the owl somewhere, kind of fitting in with the the Mac store. And then there's the main floor downstairs where the actual store is, and then they have a little mezzanine atrium where the subway is, if you know what I mean, living in Calgary. And then, like I said, the Crackmacs is on the corner of 7th Avenue and 8th Street Southwest. Now they've moved the new 8th Street station, and I think they finally finished that Central Park. I think it's finally finished. But going back to the owl, maybe that was another thing that triggered it, because I definitely spent a lot of time there, going to college, even working security. But I remember that, this happened in college. That I think the other thing that triggered it was when I worked security. I worked crazy hours, and not saying I didn't take any drugs or anything, but that was just a strange time in your life when you go into college, where you're still late hanging on to your adolescence, teens. But I just still remember that owl. In this nightmare, I was trying to avoid this owl, and the owl just kept following me for some reason. Before the advent of social media, where you want things to follow you, even the owl. I wonder if maybe the owl will follow me that dream. Like and subscribe. And speaking of that, if you want to follow along this Calgary sports fan's journey, make sure you hit like and subscribe. But I just remember, just blame the owl. That's what happened. I had to go with that for a while, and people caught on. But then I've just put that in the mothballs till now when I was coming up with ideas. Like, yeah, I remember that owl 20 years ago. It just kept following me, and the clincher was when I was inside a structure. I didn't know if it was work or home. I was just inside trying to get away. There was this glass door, and I remember the owl just banging on the glass door. It was just body banging on the glass door. And funny, being proud Calgary Albertan, the provincial bird of Alberta is actually the great horned owl. And that's kind of why Nate is also called the Ooks. Although I'm always proudly a Trojan in the southern part of the province. Owls, man. And I did remember one time, and I've heard stories where suddenly, you're out at night and, owls popped around. I remember one time I saw an owl walking around an apartment near where I live. This was a couple years ago. It looked like it was injured. I wonder if that's that same owl that I had a nightmare about. It looked very timid, and it looked like it wanted to get away from me. Like, I think that owl must have thought, he wants revenge on me. I'm that owl, maybe. But it's just, crazy nightmare I have to make a video on. So, do you have a crazy nightmare? Did you ever have an owl that invaded your nightmares that you just felt like you had to start blaming things on the owl? I had to do that. Damn that owl. It's the owl. That's all I gotta say. This video doesn't get enough views. If I don't ever make it on this platform where I make money, it's the owl's fault. And that's all I was going to have. This and my farting in the lunchroom story, which if you go back to AC number 24, about times I got in trouble for farting, and my favorite clip, you can see that as well. So the farting in the lunchroom and this owl, those are two things I always have in my back pocket when it comes to having anything to try to be funny with. I still see that owl banging his head on the door for some reason, wanting to get me. I was dreaming it was a nightmare. Don't ask questions. So anyway, as I can say, if you want to follow along this Calgary sports fan's journey, home to Flames, Hitman, Roughnecks, and Stampeders. I mostly do talk Calgary sports on my YouTube channel, but I do sometimes take a break from it, like doing personal vlogs, attempt to comedy, talking about the owl, damn you owl, and I also do sharing experiences on the road or swearing, and some vlogging on the go. So if that all sounds like it'd be interesting to watch, to follow along this Calgary sports fan's journey, you know what you do, just make sure you like and subscribe. I also have my other social links down in the description below, and I also have my second channel in Brett Hornby Shorts, where I'll put my short form content on that channel exclusively, like quick recap of a Calgary Flames or Calgary Stampeders game, or maybe that owl. If that owl ever returns and was banging his head on that glass door, I'm going to be taking a video of that next time and putting it on YouTube. That wasn't around, and it was in my dream over 20 years ago, or almost 20 years ago, when I had this nightmare where I started blaming things on the owl. So I just want to say thanks for watching. It's the owl's fault, and I'll see you in the next video. I'll just make sure the owl's not behind me.